Hi Hannah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Maybe it's been kind of stressful, but
Stressful? What has been causing that stress, do you know?
well, work was kind of sucky this week, and I mean school's been stressful, but mostly it was just like work.
Okay, yeah. So I hear you're having some problems at work. Can you explain what you mean by kind of sucky?
Well, I'm a worship leader at a church, and I have this guy who, he really likes to be in charge. So,
Okay. When you say a guy, is he
like an older gentleman.
Is he on the staff at the church?
Yeah, he's like on the volunteer staff. Like,
Okay.
he is kind of like overseeing the service, but it's just been kind of like stressful for me because I'm in charge of making all these changes, and he comes behind me and like changes them all.
Okay.
So whenever I try to like ask him to do something or ask someone else to do something, they're always like afraid to listen to what I have to say.
Okay.
I guess because they're afraid of him and like want to listen to what he says more.
Okay.
So it's just made work kind of like stressful and like awkward, I guess.
Okay. So what I think that you're telling me is that you have this gentleman who's kind of undermining your authority, in that it's making your job hard because people don't want to listen to you because they want to listen to him. Okay. Have you tried talking to this person about it?
I haven't tried talking to him directly. I'm a little like scared too, just because he's a lot older than me.
Yeah, and he's
kind of like been there for longer.
Okay.
And I kind of have a feeling he might like not think women should be in charge. So I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out how to confront him, I guess.
Okay, well, if you're up for it today, I'd like to try a little bit of role play to see if we can help you work through this issue. I want you to think of one person who you think, if they were in your shoes, they would know exactly what to say. They would have the exact right attitude about handling it. Is there one person who you think would?
Well, this is probably weird since he's a guy, but
that's okay.
Like the pastor of the church, maybe?
Okay. All right, so what I want you to do is, in this role play, I'm going to play the part of the gentleman who's kind of been undermining you, and I want you to address me as the pastor would if he were in your exact position, not the pastor talking to me about your situation. Does that make sense?
Could you say that again?
Yeah, so I want you to pretend that you are the pastor and you're in the exact position that you are.
Okay.
Like this, I have been undermining you as the pastor. So what I meant was I don't want you to be the pastor talking about Hannah.
Okay.
I want you to be the pastor
with my problem.
With your problems, exactly. Okay, so before we get started, I want to set up a little bit of the scene about where you would talk to this individual and what kind of response he would have in your mind, just so I know kind of what he's like.
Okay.
Where would this take place?
Well, it would probably take place like before worship service.
Okay.
When like things are trying to get like set up.
Okay.
I think probably knowing him, he might kind of like say, yeah, I got it, and then like not do it. Or he might kind of question me a little bit and just say like, well, no, I don't think we're going to do that. So like one or the other, like maybe kind of be a little passive aggressive about it, or kind of just like tell me why he thinks that's a bad idea. Okay.
One thing I want you to keep in mind when we're doing this is, if this person was passive aggressive, how would the pastor handle it to ensure that his point gets across when we do go through the role play? Just keep that in mind, all right? Okay, so we're getting ready for worship service and we're setting things up. And why don't you go ahead and talk to me as you would as the pastor. So I want you to completely embody what he would say, all right?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Do you want me to call you a man's name?
Yes.
All right. Hi, Ron. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're trying to set up for worship this morning, and we've already set up all the lights and the sound and everything, so I just don't want you to have to worry about that this morning.
Okay, I wasn't worried.
Okay, well, in the past we've had a little bit of problems of like getting things set up and then having them changed some. But I just want to make you aware that, we're working on it and we're just trying some new things. So
I mean, I've done this for a long time.
I know, and we really appreciate all the work that you do. The guidance and everything that you've put into this is awesome, but we're trying to just like change some things up. So I don't want you to feel like your opinion isn't important, but we're just trying some new things. So I'm really hoping that you'll be open to accepting those new ideas.
Yeah, okay. I do. I understand what the problem is.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
What do you say?
Okay, so it sounds like the message that you're really trying to get across to Ron, correct, Ron,
Mm-hmm.
is that you don't want him to feel like his opinion isn't valued and whatnot, but that he needs to back off and not be undermining you.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has put a lot of work into everything, so I don't want him to feel like that hasn't been appreciated, but I think part of maybe his concern is that, like, things are different and he really likes traditional and, like, staying in the pattern that it's going, and maybe is a little bit doesn't like the changes that are happening, which is like why he goes behind and changes them maybe.
Okay, so in the role play that just happened, why don't you tell me some things that you thought you did well and things that you would rephrase or do differently? Were you given another opportunity?
I thought that it was good that I did make it clear to him that he is like valued and appreciated, but still was direct and like told him, what I wanted changed.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, I don't know. I don't think I ended it very smoothly, so I think I would maybe try to like think of something to kind of like wrap up the conversation a little better and just kind of say like, okay, here's what we decided. Are we both on good terms about that? And kind of like wrap it up a little better maybe.
Okay. Very cool. Awesome. Well, I think you did a really great job of handling that, first endeavor of trying to deal with that situation. Do you feel a bit better equipped now to handle that?
Yeah, I think that thinking about it from like someone that I like respect and think is confident, like that will help me like kind of get into that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Oh no, was I